Hello and welcome to the Health Source podcast, your source for all things health, wellness, and lifestyle inspo. I'm your host, Beck Russell, health and life coach and the author of Life in the Soul Lane. Through conscious conversations, our aim is to inspire and empower you to live your most well, happy, and vibrant life. If you're ready to elevate your well-being, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to the Health Source podcast. I hope you're keeping well, whatever you're up to lately. And I just actually cannot believe that we are almost at the end of the year. It is December when I'm recording this episode, and it really just seems like the year has flown by. And so this episode marks a 4-part series that I'm about to share here on the podcast called Healthy Holidays. And the reason I'm putting out this series for you is because I know that this time of year can be a lot for a lot of us, can't it? It can feel like there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot going on, there's often a lot of social engagement, there's lots of family things, maybe there's lots of things to wrap up in your work or your business before the end of the year. So sometimes it can feel like a lot. And so these episodes will be nice and short and some really key topics that I think are going to help you to get through this sometimes crazy time of year. So this week's topic is all about stress management. And like I just touched on, this can often be quite a stressful time for a lot of us. So I'm hoping that some of these tips that I share with you today can really help you to stay a little bit more calm, a little bit more grounded throughout this crazy, crazy time of year. So there's lots of things that can cause us stress in our life in general, but in particular at this time of year. So like I just touched on, there's always a lot going on, lots of moving parts. You feel under pressure to organize maybe gifts for family and loved ones, and cooking and preparing meals and tying up work projects, Christmas parties and all the things. And it can just feel like a lot sometimes. And so I just want you to give yourself permission to slow down a little bit and just be a little bit more present. So let's get into my first little tip here. So tip number 1 is to practice more mindfulness. And I know sometimes this can be easier said than done, especially if you have an extensive to-do list, and your mind might just kind of run off into the future thinking about all the things that you have to do. But this will just really help you to stay a bit more grounded, a bit more present, and a bit more in the moment. And I'm not suggesting that this is going to necessarily be easy for you, but it will take time and it will take really deep self-awareness for you to be able to catch yourself if you're either worrying about the past, things that have already happened, or you're projecting into the future, worrying about things that could potentially happen, or things that you have to do, and all of these kinds of things. So if you can really practice more mindfulness, more slowness, more stillness, and this can look like eating your food a little bit more slowly and consciously. It could be being really present and engaged when you're talking with someone in a conversation. It could be really listening to somebody that's sharing something really deep and sacred with you. So there's lots of ways that you can practice this mindfulness, and you'll be able to find whatever feels right for you. And this will probably evolve over time as well, the longer that you start to integrate this mindfulness practice into your life, not just in this period, but beyond this period as well. The second thing I wanted to touch on here as well is that I wanted you to be aware that everyone else around you is also going through the same, not the same things, but similar things as you at this time of the year as well. Like, we're all busy, we all have things going on, there's so many moving parts, and sometimes this can allow the emotions to be quite heightened as well. So you might feel this within yourself as well, and just be aware that other people will be feeling same or similar to you as you are as well. So when you're engaging with someone, if you feel like perhaps they're projecting some strong emotions, just be aware of that and respond consciously and respond with compassion if you come across any of these situations as well. This might be quite an obvious one, and it's been spoken many times already on this podcast, but practices such as meditation, breathwork, yoga, qigong, these are all beautiful mind, body, spirit practices that can really, really help you to manage your stress, as well as a myriad of other benefits, but just for the purpose of this week's topic of stress management. So if you're not already engaging in one of these practices, I highly encourage you to start now if you can. And you might think, well, I don't really even have the time for that right now, but just do what you can. Take small chunks, small moments of your day, even if it is just only a few deep breaths a couple of times through your day, just to bring yourself back into your body and to breathe properly and just open up that heart space and correct your posture. Whatever you can do to get back into your body and to try and calm that nervous system down is going to serve you greatly. And if you have already one of these practices, that's amazing. Just make sure that you are making time for these practices and prioritizing them. And like I said, if it starts to get really busy at this time of year for you and you feel that you don't have the space, first of all, you have to make the space for the things that are important for you. But second of all, don't put pressure on yourself for it to be this big, elaborate practice. Take the time that you have available for you, even if it's 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes. If you've got an hour, amazing, but just take whatever pockets of time that you have, and that's going to serve you greatly. It's going to help you to, like I said, lower those stress levels, connect you back to your body, your breath, to your own energy, which is super important as well at this time of year. And the last thing I wanted to touch on as well is to make sure that you put things into perspective. Sometimes when we are in a high pressure or a high stress situation, things can often appear perhaps more dire or more like they require more of our attention than what they actually do. And this can really cause us a lot of stress and a lot of discomfort. So if you've got something going on in your life and it's causing you stress and it's causing you anxiety and worry, have a think about, is this going to matter tomorrow, next week, next year? Is there some other way that I can work around this and take maybe a different perspective as well? Like if you're facing some sort of challenge and you just can't seem to knock it on the head, so to speak, you can't work it out, maybe just take some time, take some space. And when you do that, that might allow you the space to have an idea or a solution to drop in for you. And just putting things into perspective, asking yourself, does this really matter? Does this warrant the amount of stress and anxiety that is currently running through my body at the moment? And oftentimes you'll find that it's not. Of course, there are some times when things are quite pressing and can be quite stressful, but it's worth noting that a lot of times it won't be, and just give yourself the time and the space to just tune in, take that perspective, take a higher or a different perspective. And I'm sure that you will probably be quite surprised that it might not be quite as bad or quite as stressful as what you had initially first thought. So these are some of my top tips for you to manage your stress over this holiday period. So I'll just quickly run through them again for you. So the first one is to practice more mindfulness. So this can look however it wants to look for you, just being more present, being more in the moment. And I'm going to throw in there practicing gratitude as well, just being grateful for all that you have, being present in each and every moment, and just really soaking in all that is in your life at this moment right now. The second one is that I just want you to be really aware that other people around you are also likely going through heightened stress, heightened emotion. So when you are relating with people, just keep that in mind as well. Number 3 was to engage in a practice, if you haven't already, of things like meditation, breathwork, yoga, and qigong to manage your stress and connect you back to yourself and get that energy flowing freely through your body. And number 4 was putting things into perspective, asking yourself, does this really matter? Is this going to matter next week, next year, or even tomorrow? And take a higher or a different perspective as well. So I hope you enjoyed this quick little episode to help you manage any potential stresses that come up for you at this time of year. If you have any of your own stress relieving activities, do feel free to let me know. Come over and connect with me over on Instagram. My handle is @BeckRussell_, and you can also follow the podcast @TheHealthSource_. That's it for this week's episode. I'll be back in your ears again next week. And until next time, take really good care of yourself, and I'll chat to you again soon. Are you looking to uplevel your mornings, your days, and ultimately your life? I've got a cool freebie that I think you are going to love if you answered yes. It is called Mindful and Motivated Mornings, and I created this freebie because I understand that how we start our day can really determine how our day will flow on from there. So inside this freebie, you will receive a 20-minute yoga practice, a nourishing breakfast recipe, and you'll also get a reflection journal where you can write down any thoughts or feelings that are coming through for the day. And you can also track your food, your movement, and your water intake as well. And this can all happen under 30 minutes because I know a lot of us are time poor and we're busy and we're out there chasing our dreams. So I wanted to make sure that it was able to fit into your busy morning routine as well. So if you feel like this is exactly what you need to start your day off the right way, click the link in the show notes and you will be taken straight to the download where you can start your day off in the right way.